tend to forget to put record on. There we go. Now we're recording. So I'm going to just go through some virtual office and member services pieces, and Jodie's going to help me out in this as well. Let's see, what are we going to kick off with? Let's kick off with, okay, the standard order versus essential rewards. Now we have had a change made on that. So when you're going in now to order,
yes,
it now says monthly ER order. I know that often was a point of confusion, was it?
Yes, it was. Yes, they were going into standard order or quick order instead of monthly ER, and placing as they thought, the monthly order on as a standard order.
Yeah.
So this should be, help them a lot, showing it's the ER order. So we wanted to change it quite a while ago, but it's finally got around to change. Yeah, so it's a lot easier for them to understand.
So that should help you, and especially, if you've got downlines as well, makes it a lot easier for them to understand which order they're actually processing through. And that also takes us to PV Assist. So I'm just going to go back, because do you want to talk to this bit about what PV Assist is and how that can help them?
Yeah. So with the new PV Assist, what it is, it's basically helping people who are doing either a 50 PV order or a 100 PV order each month. People who are doing the 50 PV order, whenever they're trying to update their template, if they're trying to save their order and it's under 50 PV, they can't actually do that anyway, but they will get a new alert, and the new alert will actually tell them that they have to fix their order before they can save it. And it's called the PV Assistant Alert. Now, with the PV Assistant, what it mainly does is it's very good for if someone has an item in their cart for that particular month or the following month, and that becomes out of stock for any reason. So if they go in and do the new tool, the PV Assistant, what they do is they put their target. You can either have a 50 PV or 100. And they need to list some items in there. We recommend them to list maybe 4 or 5 extra items. And what it does, if they, for instance, are doing a 100 PV order, normally, monthly, and they notice that maybe they've forgotten to do up to 100 and it's 80, when they're in there, it will actually prompt them to say, oops, we haven't done 100 PV. And they just need to go in and add it. The other reason is, as I mentioned, with the out of stock item, what happens is the warehouse will actually get us to delete the item out because it can't be sent out. And in that case, what's happened before is that it's reduced their PV in the order processes, and it's it's under the 100 PV, and obviously it affects their promotions and things. So what the assistant does, if they set it to 100, when they are doing, say, just 80 or 90 PV, it'll automatically prompt them and say, you're under the 100. And what it does with the list that they've actually put in, it will take the first item that they've listed and pop that particular product into their cart for their order. And if that's unavailable, it'll just move down to whatever else they've listed. So that's why it's important that they do, 3, 4 or 5 items in there. But it's a really good tool, and I think we need to get a lot of people to update it, because people do sometimes either forget that they do need to do the 100, or they think, oh, I'll just do my order and then I'll come back and add to it before it processes, and people do forget. But mainly it's very good in the case of, we've had quite a few items out of stock, so it has affected people's orders, and this will stop that. So I think it's very important that they all learn to do it. Yeah.
So it's a tool. It's a tool to help everyone with their PV for the monthly order. So if you're using it yourself, or if you're wanting to work with it with your downlines, think about the items that they can put on there that are everyday items that they're going to be using. So is it Miniature Red? Is it some toothpaste? Is it the Thieves dishwashing detergent? Like something that they're going to be using every day would be great for them to be popping in as one of those 4 or 5 items, because they know they're going to be using it all the time. But it kind of stops that kind of, you're getting to the end of the month, or you think you've hit your target and you didn't because there was an out of stock issue with an item. So it's a good tool. So if you haven't already set it up, go into your virtual office and they can set it up within
Yeah, they just go into the monthly order part, and it's the tab on their PV Assistant, and you click on that to say yes, you would like to join that, and then you just go in and adjust it to whether you're doing a 50 PV or 100 PV, and you just add your items in there and save it.
Yeah, it's easy to use.
Yeah, it's easily done.
I just like drawing on mine. Oh, now I have to get rid of it. Go away. Any questions around the PV Assist before Jodie goes? And I think also we have just the 4-digit security PIN. So this is something that all members calling into member services are going to be requested to give their 4-digit PIN, and just realizing that that's a security and a safety issue to stop somebody, from using your account, and that everyone in member services is required to take that before they can process any action, anything on your account at all. It can be changed in your virtual office. So, if you have a downline or yourself, you're like, oh, what was my PIN? You can actually go into your virtual office and change your PIN and then create the one that you want. And then when you're calling in, you utilize that one. So I think that's kind of all it is about the PIN.
Yeah, just to notice that a lot of people don't realise they do have a PIN number. So when they're calling in, they say, oh no, I don't have one, it doesn't exist. We'll just verify their address or email and password, and then we'll just let them know what it is, and then they can change it if they want. Yeah, that's fine.
So yeah, I guess it depends on how savvy they are for when they're calling in, and how often you've used it. But it is there, and just to know that it is really there for your safety and security of your account. Good. So I think that's all we've got from member services today. So thank you, Jodie, for staying back.
No
Say
problem.
goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
So Jodie's leaving us now. All right, so just I'm going to go through some training and events, just things that are coming up. Symposium's fast approaching in May, and I know a lot of you will have registered already. And we are going to have a men's health panel as one of the lunchtime workshops. And Brenda is looking for questions. So what kind of questions would you want to ask a panel about men's health? So here, we're looking at questions on men's health. So if you've got any ideas, can you please email them to brogers@youngliving.com.au, because she can then forward that to the men's panel, and they can start, preparing the answers to some of the questions that you will be asking. So that would be really helpful on that. Everything you've ever wanted to know about men's health, ask away on those questions. Raindrop technique, for those of you who are in Sydney, coming up in March, and in Brisbane coming up in April. Just a reminder that registrations are open for that, and I believe you can still catch the early bird session on that if you're registering now. And also Raindrop kits are back in stock now. They were out of stock for a while, so just to let you know, they are back in stock and ready, available to order. Training. So coming up, actually in the next 3 weeks, we have got a social media training program for you. It's going to be held over 3 consecutive weeks. I'll tell you the dates in a minute. But it's an interactive series, and it's facilitated by Lisa Choi. And she's going to be looking at how you can use Facebook in particular through this series to attract, engage, convert, and retain your customers, and also how to utilize that within team members. 3-part series. So the first one is a beginner's. So this is going to go through really the basics of your personal page, your business page, a group page, how you set up the securities, setting up a group for customers, and setting up a group for your team when you're at that level to do that, and also etiquette. So what is the etiquette nowadays? I mean, social media is a relatively new tool and fast growing. So how do we use it in a professional way? The second week is going to be more about personal branding. So how do you use social media to represent your personal brand? What type of content are you going to use? How do you use that to harness team power? and what happens and what's the best way about joining and utilizing other Facebook groups and forums. And also how to schedule content. She's going to go into that. And the third week will be more about Facebook Live. How do you use Facebook Live? How do you plan a Facebook Live calendar? Using Facebook Live for lead generation, and then also things like ads and boosts and different things like that. So those are the 3 weeks that we're training. They're going to be starting next Tuesday, the 7th, the 14th, and the 21st. Now, you'll notice that two of those weeks, one is the product training, which is next week, and the third one is the next business training session. So those weeks we'll be doing a half-an-hour product training next Tuesday from 7 till 7:30, and then we'll have 7:30 to 8:30 the Facebook Live webinar. Now, they are 2 different registrations, so you can't use this link to get onto that webinar. So those details, I believe, were in the eBlast last week. They will be in the eBlast this week, and if any of you are on the YL Entrepreneurs page, you'll have access to that there, and I'll be popping it up on the members Facebook page shortly. And the same with the business training on the 21st. It'll be half an hour of business up front, and then we'll flip over to the other one to follow up with the last session of the social media training. Well, thanks. We'll come back to that symposium because it's a bit, actually, there it is. It's the next slide. So you'll get some notifications that will be coming out tomorrow, and it'll also be on Friday's eBlast. But I thought, I'd let you guys know that starting tomorrow, we are running a promotion on getting a free ticket to Symposium. So looking through the month of March, sponsoring 3 people on the PSK with a 100 PB essential reward order that they submit before April 14th, and you'll get a free ticket to Symposium. So that's the first part. The second part is that all new members, and by this all new members will be anyone who joined from November 1st, which is when we launched Symposium, through to the end of March. So all those new members actually have the opportunity to pick up their Symposium ticket for the early bird price of $348, because most of them were not around when we were launching it or were so new, may not have understood how important Symposium is. So for those new members, we are keeping the $348 early bird price. But this is an opportunity for a member to get a free ticket for themselves. Now, if you've already got a ticket and you've already paid for it, you can gift that to someone. But you might want to look at this as a promotion. So if you go out and you've already got your ticket, but you're going out and you're sponsoring 3 people on a PSK, they have a 100 PB ER order, why not put their name in a draw and give one of them your Symposium ticket if you've already got one? Or utilize it within your team and set your own kind of sponsoring thing up once you know that you've got that ticket locked and loaded for you. So there's different ways in which you can use that for those of you who've already got a Symposium ticket. And for those of you that haven't, well, here's an opportunity for you to pick that up. And as I say, details will be coming out tomorrow with that. Also, we have a flyer. It's not a high quality that I've got on my screen because it's just a photo here. But this is a flyer that will be dropping into all members' orders from March 1st to 11th of April. And it's a great flyer with 15 reasons to attend Symposium. So it goes through lots of different reasons, gives them, topics on speakers and what they're doing and what's going to happen and what you can expect from the Symposium. It'll be emailed to all members tomorrow, so you should be receiving this as an email tomorrow. And also, we'll be emailing all new members from November 1st to let them know that they have the opportunity to pick up a Symposium ticket for that $348 price. So lots of stuff coming around to really maximize and support everyone to if you want to be at Symposium, there's many different ways that you can get yourself there at a great price. I thought we'd have a look. Actually, any questions about that before I move on? No, all good. Well, type away if you do, because I know sometimes you think about them afterwards. I thought we'd take some time just to have a look, because we're talking to several people. Often a question that comes up is, how do I build my network? How do I get more people into my team? Where do I go and I meet people? And it's a question that isn't unusual, and it exists really across all the direct selling industry. So I thought we'd have a look at different ways in which you can build your network. And pretty much it comes down to like how many people you can get in front of every day or every week or every month. That's how you build your network. And it's how many new people you can engage and where can you find them and start to build those relationships. So we'll go through 4 kind of key ways of using existing members. Workshops work, being a walking, talking product of the product, and engaging in conversations with strangers and where to find them. So let's talk about your existing members. So extending your network and extending your reach. One of the best ways to do that is to support your team in them reaching out to people that they know. So connecting with new members during the first 30 days in the business is mission critical. It's a time when they're the most vulnerable. They're all excited because they started, and usually within 2 or 3 days, they might be like, what have I done, or how do I do this, or I don't know what to do. So they're very excited and enthusiastic, but also a little bit cautious and nervous. So when you're bringing somebody new on board, how you work with them in those first 30 days is going to impact their success in the business, either with the product or with the business opportunity. So, excuse me, looking at creating your own plan. How, when you bring someone on board, are you engaging them in the product? What's your system? Like when they come on, do you connect with them weekly? What if you were to share every week with them three of the oils in the premium starter kit that they purchased, or whatever kit they purchased, sharing the tips and tricks of how to use those oils, and then challenging them once you've done that to go out and share that with others. So you might be coming up with ways they can use lavender, ways they can use peppermint, here's ways that you can use Thebe. Tell them 3 ways to use it, and then tell them to go out and share it. Do you have a mom? Have you got a sister? Have you got a best friend? Okay, go share that with those 3 people. Because when they share that knowledge, it embeds that knowledge in them too. And when they share that knowledge in the beginning, they're always very enthusiastic too, and that will engage other people into being excited about the product. Each week, take them through some different products. So by the end of the month, they've been through everything in that kit. Otherwise, what you may find is they'll use 3, 4, or maybe even 5 of the products, but there'll be a few they don't know how to use. They don't know what the need is for. So that's when you can have some fun with that. Create a 90-day contact plan. So once you've gone through that first month, what's your next process for the next 60 days? Who is really kind of stepping up? Who's been sharing more? Who's excited? Who's coming to your workshops? And create a plan about working with them. Whether or not it's just engaging them to come onto these webinars, telling them about it, sending them the links, reminding them that they're coming up, or your own webinars, or setting up your own contact plan, connecting them, bringing them into your workshops. There's a saying, never go alone. So if you're going to do a workshop, take a new member with you, because it's a great training environment for them. Looking at your existing members, make a plan to contact X amount a week. It's going to depend on how many you've got in your downline. So if you were to look at over 3 to 4 months, you'd be through everyone in your team. By re-engaging with existing members, it gives you an opportunity to support them in ensuring really they're getting the maximum benefit out of the Young Living products that they've purchased. So a great question to ask someone who's been in your business for a while, when you're talking to them, is tell me, have you got an oil that you're not using? What's sitting in your cupboard that you're not using from Young Living? And then finding out what that is, and then giving them some ideas about how to utilize that product, and kind of challenging them to use those over the next week, and you'll contact back with them. This is a relationship business, so it is about building relationships and maintaining contact with your downline. And when you're doing that, and your team will do that as well, because they'll do what you do, because that's what they experience. So imagine you do that with a new person. When that new person brings someone aboard, that's what they're going to do with their new person, because that's what they've learned from you as well. So setting up a plan, and get together with your upline silver, discuss, brainstorm, share, and talk about ideas about how you can utilize this. If it's something that you're not feeling confident about, how can you create the steps and actions to do that? So anyone else got any kind of tips or things that they do about following up that they find has worked for them, or with new people that kind of engages them and activates them in the business, please type away. I'll be happy to share these as we go through. Next way to extend your reach and to build your network is through workshops. And there's different ways in which you can do workshops. You can create workshops, but you also can attend other workshops, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So first of all, it's about planning your workshops. So whether you know what you're doing, or you don't know what to do, or you don't know who's coming, or you don't know how you're going to do it, plan that you're going to do them. That's the very first step to do, is commit that you're going to do them and set a date in your diary. Whether you start off doing 1 a month, 2 a month, 3 a month, or 1 a week, that's up to you, but plan something and put it into your diary. Collaborate with team members. So, if you've only got a small team yourself, get together with that team and create and pull your workshops together. A workshop could be physical, like in your own home or in a venue, or you could do a workshop via Zoom. There's different ways in which you can do workshops. Being consistent is really key in this. So if you commit you're going to do 2 workshops a month, be consistent with that. Do 2 workshops a month every month for a year before you decide they're not working for you. Because it's that consistency of knowing yourself it's going to happen, of your team understanding it's going to happen, and eventually you will start getting the numbers. There's going to be times when you go to those workshops and you'll have 1 person, no person, 3 persons. You just do it anyway. And if you get those, I think Naomi shared this with us at the Hawaiian event. If you go to your workshop and no one shows up, sit and do work. Still utilize that time to do work. Use that time to call some of your existing members. It's always going to be an opportunity to work. Think about what you're passionate about. So if you're not sure about what to do a workshop on, what are you passionate about? What brought you into Young Living? What's your kind of niche? Is it around the culinary oils? Is it around fitness? Is it around being a mum? Is it around health and well-being? Is it around relaxation and de-stressing? What is the theme that you're passionate about? Because when you're passionate about it and you share it, you're going to attract people who like the same thing as you are, and you're going to be authentic. And also, I think on that point is always know that you're always ready to do a workshop. So if you ever feel like, when I know everything about the oils, when I've finished that training, when I become a executive, when the moon is in Pisces and there's a eclipse moon in Pisces, that's when I'm going to be ready. No, you're always ready today. You'll always know more than the people who are coming in front of you, and that's how you learn as well. So kind of just get up and do it. If you wait till you're ready, you'll never be ready, and you'll learn way more by doing it when you think you don't know anything than if you do till you wait that you know something. And make it fun. These workshops or getting together with people, it needs to be a fun experience. So what's fun? What's fun to you? Is it playing music? Is it doing a meditation? Is it having some kind of games you play? Is it being creative and doing artwork in a workshop with the oils? What is it? So bring that right into that. Also, just looking at kind of networking. Sorry, I'm just going to look if there's any questions on that. Workshops, and we'll explore more on these. As we go through the year, and we'll hear from people who are doing workshops. And Meredith might touch on that when we're chatting to her too. So stay tuned for that one. You build your network by being a walking, talking product of the product. And why is that? It's because when you've got the oils on you and people smell them, they're going to ask you about them. The other day I went and met a friend for coffee, and I'd had some oils that I'd put on me, and she was like, what have you got on? What's that smell? So people are going to ask you questions, and then you can engage in a conversation around the product. I want you to think about, what are the oils that you use every day? Like, what are you using every day in your life with Young Living? And then if you're like me, I'm a pretty average person. Most, you know, I wash my dishes most of the time. Well, my son does that most of the time actually, but you know, I clean the house, you know, I wash my hair, I shower, I use deodorant, I use, you know, skincare. Like, I'm an average person, and most people are going to use those things too. So by listing the products that you use every day helps you, you know, to really match what other people are doing with a solution. Always have your oils on you. I remember the very first meeting I went to with Young Living. It was you know, all the silver was with golds and platinums and diamonds, and all the oils were on the table, you know, all ready to go in the water. So be that, have those oils on you. And I think when was listening to Jake Dempsey, he gave you know, talked about that and said how, you know, people often like kind of are shy about the oils, and you kind of like take it out of your pocket and you quickly put it on you and you just quickly put it back in your pocket. And, you know, it's almost like you don't want someone to see it, whereas it's the opposite. You want people to see it. So when you're at a restaurant or a cafe, always have your oil there on the table so everybody can see it. And engaging your learning and sharing with your family. So, you know, especially this is great for you know, your new members. So they share it with the family. So when they engage it, the kids are using it, the husband's using it, you know, sharing it with their parents or their grandparents, like engaging their family in it, because as they start to use the products, their friends and family and also are going to be exposed to them. So while it seems quite obvious, you know, sometimes these are things that we can just tweak a little bit, and they're just going to bring more access to people to asking questions or to sharing the product with them. And, oh, not that one. Where did it go? There it is. I'll come back to that one. Oh, there you go. Sorry. I stole this shamelessly from Christy and Jake Dempsey because I thought this really was one of the good topics that they talked to about the process, is engaging people, asking questions of people about, you know, what do they like, what do they use, what's important to them, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is, you know, nutrition to you and your family. On a scale of 1 to 10, you know, how important is low tox lifestyle, you know, asking and getting questions and then following their lead. So wherever they take you, that's where you follow. And always making the offer they talk about. This is when you're bringing them on board. And then they talk about showing them how to do that, offering them the product, offering the opportunity, and then the next bit is all about building and developing them. But it was that engaging piece that I wanted to talk to here, is how do you engage people into Young Living conversations? It's by being curious. Be curious about somebody else, ask questions about someone else, and then all you're doing is you're taking their question, their problem, and you're just matching it to a solution that Young Living can offer, whether it's through product or the business opportunity. And then, you know, finally, this is the one that, you know, some people are either fantastic at this and others are like, oh, it's in the big scary zone. So that's really engaging in conversations with people that you do not know yet. Okay. So how do you do that? Well, you know, for some people it's really easy, and some people are easy to talk to. Some people you can just strike up a conversation and it's like you've known them forever. And other people, it can take time. I want you to think of it like planting a seed when you're engaging in these conversations. You know, with some of them, you're going to plant the seed and you're going to start asking them curious questions, and boom, the plant grows and it's fantastic. And with others, you're going to plant the seed and ask those questions, and it's going to take time. You know, you have to keep going back, keep watering the plant, keep making sure the sun shines on it, and eventually, you know, it sprouts and something will happen from it. But always smile at everyone. So, you know, set yourself a challenge that you're going to walk down the street and you're going to smile and say hello to someone who walks past you. Nobody does that anymore. You know, and I'm talking in your neighborhood here, so probably the people you're bumping into are people that you're visually, facially familiar with. So start smiling at people, start saying hello, hi, good morning. That might be all it is that you're saying right now. When you start engaging in the conversations, you know, start a conversation off about the weather or the kids or the dog that they've got. You know, it's just building that relationship. And then when you can, start asking the curious questions. And again, as I say, this is a process that can take time. And I'm going to share with you something that happened the other day when I was out with a friend, and she actually is in another network marketing company, and we were having coffee. And we were sat at an outside of a cafe, and the window to the inside was open. Oh, I think we've got Sophia there. Hang on a sec. So we were sat outside, and this girl kind of looked over and said, "Oh, are you wanting a coffee?" And I thought, "Oh, that's strange. She's a customer." And I said, "Oh, that's interesting. You're a customer asking me for a coffee." She goes, "No. I work here. I'm just waiting for my bus." So my friend said, "Oh, have you finished your shift?" "Yes, I've finished my shift. I've got to go," she said, "because I've got another job." "Oh, where's your other job?" my friend's saying. And she goes, "Oh, I work at Randwick at the racecourse." She goes, "Actually, I've got 4 jobs." Sophia, can you just put your video on blank, because we can see you walking around? That doesn't look like Sophia, so whoever's got Sophia's video, can you switch your video off, because we can see you walking along? I can't switch it off. Hang on, maybe I can do it here. Stop the video. There we go, I've done it. Okay, sorry. So she was saying I had 4 jobs. So my friend's like, "Oh, 4 jobs. Why have you got, it's a lot of jobs you've got." She goes, "Oh yeah, I'm, from Brazil, and I came to study, and it's very expensive. So, I had to do all these jobs to make some money. And already my alarm's going off, going, hello, you've got to talk to this person about the business opportunity. She's doing 4 jobs. So my friend, says to her, "Would you be open to other opportunities?" It's such a great statement. Would you be open to other opportunities? And that's very interesting, because I remember that same statement coming out of Terry Seacrest's mouth when she was talking about sitting in a cab when she was in Sydney, talking to a cab driver. Have you always thought about, how long have you been driving a cab? Would you be open to other opportunities? So it's a good question to ask. "Sure," said this girl. "Yeah, I'm always open to opportunities. I've finished uni now. I'm looking for a job in HR." So my friend said, "Oh, well, here's my pen and paper. Give me your phone number and give me your email. I'm going to send you a link. And I'm in a health and wellness business, and I'd love to talk to you more about it. I'll send you the link. And if you're interested, great. And if you're not, that's okay." What does the girl do? Gives her a name, gives her a phone number, and gives her email. So while we're sitting having coffee, my friend sends her a pre-text that she's already has written in her phone. You can custom create texts in your phone, so that when you meet someone, you just send that text right away. She sent the text right away with a link. The girl's sitting next to us. Her bus is 15 minutes late, we discover. So she sits and watches this video. And then she looks up at my friend and she said, "Oh, is this a multi-level marketing company?" And my friend goes, yeah, it is. And the girl goes, "Oh, my mum does that in Brazil." So within 15 minutes, we'd made a connection. She'd asked questions. She'd identified a need. And she'd sent her a link. And this girl happened to have a family member who was in the industry. So from sitting down having a cup of coffee, she left with a lead. So it's looking at those opportunities. When do they open up? And it's by you asking the questions that you can then provide the right questions that you're going to ask them. Would you be open to another opportunity, or are you open to other opportunities when you wanted to share the business opportunity? So just some thoughts about being a bit creative when you're meeting a stranger. Just dive in. Probably never going to see them again if they say no anyway, so what have you got to lose? So that's, engaging in conversations. You can also look at things like connect with your local meetup groups. So if you go online and look at meetups, Sydney the Hills, meetups, I don't know, Gold Coast, and then your local town, wherever you are, if you look at meetups in your area, Meetups is an organization that is worldwide. You can go in, and what it'll do is it'll spit up a whole load of meetup groups, and you might look down and you go, oh, look, there's one there on yoga. I like yoga. Click on yoga. And what it does is it shows you groups of people who are connecting together at a local cafe. They might be going for a yoga class in the park. They might be women who like to run. There's all different sorts of meet-up groups, but you could identify ones that resonate to you, so that they have similar passions or interests that you do, and you go along to these groups, and you get to know people in these groups. Now, you don't go along to the first group, start handing out your Young Living cards, and that's not how you do it. But what you do is you go along to these groups and you start to network and get to know these people. And of course, you're wearing your oils, you've got your lemon on the table, you're utilizing those things. And then when you're connecting with people, it's always good to say, use are you on Facebook? I have a Facebook group around well-being. I'd love to hook you into that. And then you can get them onto your Facebook group and start marketing to them and connecting with them that way. So have an explore, go and see what you can find, what meetup groups are in your area. And then conversely, what if you were to create your own meetup group? People who love essential oils, people who are interested in low tox living, people who are interested in natural nutrition. So mothers who are interested in low tox living with their kids. So have a think about, you might be able to create one, but I would go along to a few first, so you kind of get to see what they're like and how they run them. But they're great to go along to. So there's just a few ideas on how do you spread yourself out? How do you increase your network? But yeah, at the end of the day, you kind of go, who did I meet today? How many people did I talk to? If you talk to 0, then your business is no further forward. But if you talk to 1, you're 100% ahead more than you were at the beginning of the day. If you talk to 2, 3, and 4, great. So set yourself a goal. I'm going to smile at 10 people today. I'm going to say hello to 10 people. I'm going to go check out a meetup group. Do something every week that kind of extends you out into your network of people. All right, so that's extending your reach. So if we have any questions on that, I'm just going to have a look. Okay, sorry, Vaughn, I can't post the link because I don't have it. The links were all in the eBlast. Links are always in the eBlast because it's the same link that's for Brenda's training as well. But it is recorded because Meredith reminded me, so we'll be able to pick that up in the next 48 hours. It usually goes online. All right, so now we're going to hand over to Meredith, and she is going to talk to us really about her journey to silver. I'm going to hand over to you. Just tell me when to press, and hopefully I got everything in the right order.
Okay, no worries. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I want to share my road to silver, and I'm probably going to touch on a few things that Katrina talked about in my speech. Just a brief intro about me. I'm a mum of 2. I'm a former high school music teacher, and now I do relief teaching, some private piano tuition, accompanying choirs, and Young Living. I joined in 2011, but didn't start the business until 2014. It took me a little while to get on board. I had health challenges. And I hope everyone listening will walk away with 1 or 2 things that stands out for them, no matter where you are in the business, and helps you take action. And I love quotes. So you're going to see a few quotes tonight. The first one, Katrina, please, is change is hard at first, messy in the middle. Oh, sorry, yes, that's it. Messy in the middle and gorgeous at the end. And a lot of us are in that change is hard at first or messy in the middle. And I think that's pretty much, the growth that we need to go through in order to push forward. So going from distributor to silver, I really want to get this across to everybody. It's a transition process, and this is something that I learned really quickly. It's a time to learn skills, understand how network marketing works, and build a community in your organisation. And for me, this meant juggling what I was already doing, teaching and being a mum of 2, with getting a Young Living business off the ground. And it was a bit of a shock for me because I was so excited about doing the business that I didn't understand why people around me didn't actually see me as a Young Living distributor. I'm like, but I've decided to do this. So I realised with my family particularly and some of my friends that they didn't automatically view me as that. So my consistent actions over time had to show them that I was serious about this. So the next image that I want to show you is how I feel about this, my road so far. And I'm sure some of you will also feel the same. I love this. Success on the left, what people think it looks like and what it really looks like. And that certainly has been it for me. I'm not sure how many of you also, maybe you can raise your hand if you feel the same way. Because if you think about life in general, and if you've had to really strive for something, generally maybe it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And if we can understand this, and that it's not a smooth road, then that can really help us in our path and really make us a lot more resilient. So some defining moments I wanted to share in the business for me as I've gone along. And the next quote, please, Katrina. It is in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped, by Tony Robbins. So my decision to give this business a go and host my first event, I want to share a little bit about that. I had no idea what I was getting into. I actually had almost heart palpitations trying to get the house ready for an info session that my uplines were coming to run. And then the second moment for me was actually a call for the Young Living's Noosa retreat 2 years ago. And I was teaching this day. Personal circumstances, my husband had just gotten out of hospital about 4 days ago. We'd had a scare, and he wasn't very well. And I got a call at lunchtime from my upline offering me a spot to go to this retreat. And all these fears and doubts came into my head as to why I couldn't go. I was going to have to pay some money, and I'm thinking of all the reasons why not. And I had a moment on the phone with her, and I thought, you know what? I've just got to think of one reason why. Forget all the other reasons. And so I said to her, look, can I call my husband and get back to you? My husband's name is John, by the way. And she said, yep, no worries. And I called him and I said, look, can you handle the kids on the weekend if I go up? Because he wasn't too well. And thankfully he said, you've been talking about this so long that you need to go and do this. So that was my my really big defining moment. And that weekend changed my life. Listening to the leaders helped me to find my why. I couldn't sleep. I was so excited on that Saturday night. I couldn't sleep properly at all. On the Sunday morning, I woke up and wrote out my why, and I'd been working on it for a while. But from there, really, was the kickstart to what I needed for me to do the business. The following quote: everything is hard before it is easy. And, oh, hang on, I think you've gone. Maybe it's not in there. That's okay. Everything is hard before it's easy. So I had been struggling and floundering with this business for a while leading up to the Noosa retreat. And I had made the decision then to walk the walk before talking the talk. I thought no one's going to actually jump on and join me and follow me as a leader unless I actually learn how to do this business. And I realised I had to establish my reputation and build a foundation for my business and be someone actually worthy of following. I thought, well, they've actually got to see me do something massive and make a name for myself. I actually, I'm very lucky. I'm in a lovely school community of very health conscious people, but a lot do Young Living. So I was surrounded by a lot of other people that I thought, well, I've got to make myself stand out from others doing the business. So I chose to follow my gut instinct and do my own thing rather than my uplines. They'd been following their own path, and I now understand why after Mastermind that we're actually different colour dynamics. I'd been really struggling to do things the way they were doing things, and that's not to say they were doing things wrong, because there is no right or wrong, but it just wasn't really me. So my goal was to create for others what I wish I had had when I started, both as a business builder and as a member. And the question I asked myself, and this is what I always come back to now, is why would someone join my team over someone else's? Why would they choose to go with me? Because there are people that do sit on the sidelines and watch. And the two main things that I decided it would be, why I attract people, is education about these products and customer service, that they would get the best possible customer service from me. So the power of consistent daily effort is something that I personally know from a very young age. I'm a classically trained pianist. I started piano lessons at the age of 6, and I was practicing every single day. So I understand that this business is going to be a long-term thing. And it really took 10 years before I felt fully competent as a classroom teacher. And so I think it's wonderful in this business because we get to fail forward. I've heard that said, and I love that saying, that we get to jump in and do it and learn in the process rather than have to wait, like Katrina said before, for the perfect moment. I spent, after the September retreat, I spent September and October, I think every night I was up till about 11, 12 o'clock, planning, researching, because I had the brainwave of workshops. I didn't know about Melissa Pepping. I didn't have any idea. I just had this wonderful idea that I thought I was the first in the world to create, which I now realise is just laughable. And I ran a couple of practice workshops and announced my intention to do the business. And I thought this was really important. So in October, I, along with a business partner of mine, we announced that, yes, we're going to do this and put it on Facebook and everything. So I thought, well, you know, we've got to have a mark of some kind that we're actually going to do this officially. The next quote, which I also love quotes, got them all over my my house, is that the only way to get beyond fear, we've jumped forward a bit, is massive action. You got that one, Katrina? Maybe not. Anyway, okay, so the only way to get beyond fear is massive action, and that's a Tony Robbins quote as well. I've got a few Tony Robbins quotes. So sorry?
I said, sorry, I don't seem to have those ones.
That's okay. So my massive action was registering for the Leap into Lavender, or Leap in Lavender. My goal was to reach the top 10. I always believe if you aim for the ceiling, you'll hit the wall. And I can tell you that when I actually registered for that and paid my money, I wanted to jump into a hole and bury myself. I had never felt so scared. I think maybe in university, hopping up on stage, playing a Beethoven sonata was the last time I felt that scared. I was petrified. And I realise now that was because I cared so much about it and I didn't know what was ahead of me. I had no idea the challenge that I was about to take on. The reasons I wanted to do it was to kick myself into gear and make myself accountable. I knew that if I had wanted to do this business, I had to throw myself into the deep end. I wanted to prove to myself that I actually could do this, and to my husband and my children, to role model chasing a dream for my children. I might get a little bit teary about this because anyway, yes, sorry, I do get a bit emotional and choked up sometimes. To establish a reputation and get noticed by people who weren't taking what I was doing seriously, and there were a few, to strive for something beyond my reach and grow in the process. And I gained my husband's support. I actually registered before telling him. I didn't ask him about it. I didn't want him to give me reasons why not, and to talk me out of it. And there were reasons why I probably shouldn't have. I was still going through health challenges, but I didn't want anybody around me to convince me that I shouldn't do this. And I sat him down and explained why this was bigger than a holiday to France for his wife, why this was so much bigger than that, and what it would do for our business in the long run. And thankfully he decided, you know what, we're going to do this as a family. And if you need to travel, he would support me, travel with me and take the kids. So as a family, we sat down and discussed it, and they supported me the whole way. So I'm so lucky for that. And I encourage you all, if you haven't had a conversation with somebody around you, and if you don't feel that you have that support, to sit down and have that conversation. And if they're not fully there yet, hold that space for them, because when they see you actually are so passionate and jumping in, hopefully they will jump on board for you too. I've got to be honest, it tested our relationship like nothing else. There were lots of frustrating moments and tears along the way. There was a moment actually, I'll be brutally honest, on our 4-hour trip somewhere to run an event, we had to stop off at a shopping centre, and he had to go out of the car for about an hour and leave me. We were both so tired, and we'd reached breaking point at that point. And thankfully it strengthened our relationship. But the French promotion has taught me that this business is a marathon, not a sprint. And I said to Brenda Rogers actually towards the end of it, that is really what I had got out of it. And whether or not I made it to France, it didn't really ultimately, by the end of it, matter. I was so grateful for what I learned about the business along the way. It required a total shift in my mindset, and this was something I really battled with. I had to conquer self-doubt. And this was minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day thing. I had to learn how to turn my negative thoughts around and my doubts, so my limiting beliefs. And it's amazing when you start really paying attention to that, how often they creep into your mind. The I can't do this, or I shouldn't do that, or the reasons why not. Every time I had that thought pop in, I would turn it around. what my son calls red thoughts and green thoughts. So turn a red thought into a green thought. I would actually I'd look at my downline and my what do you call it, the dashboard, and I focus on that consistent growth. And if it was going up, I focused on that, because what you focus on expands. I truly believe that. I had to problem solve, think more creatively. That was a really great thing. Had to let go of my rigid thinking. I didn't realize I was so rigid in my thoughts until that promotion. And I was very careful who I had around me and who I listened to. When I had people doubting me or saying things to me that I felt were unhelpful, I actually started calling them on it. And I developed what I call now laser focus, and I think a couple of leaders have called it that as well. I had to learn to emotionally detach from the outcome, as I was so busy running events and following up that I didn't have time to wallow in the nose. And that was such a blessing, because I did that before the French promotion. Someone would say no to me and I'd be so hurt and so disappointed and like, what did I say or what did I do? I'd go over it in my head and analyse it. And I learned not to. And that no doesn't mean, of course, no, maybe forever, but maybe not now. My mantras were whatever it takes and work with the willing. So if somebody wasn't on board or wasn't I wanted someone to jump in and go, yes, hell yes, I'm doing this. Rather than be wishy-washy. These were the people that came to events, showed up, ran events themselves, were keen to be independent, and were actively enrolling others. So if they were doing that, I was there supporting them. And my motivation, personally, I love music. So I love Spotify, and I would record songs that I would listen to for myself. There's a little French one by, funny pair, I can't remember them now, but anyway, funny Paris, French one, quotes. I set myself mini rewards along the way to celebrate stepping stones. And I remember when Young Living sent me a mug when I reached the top 25 in January. I was so proud of that mug, and I had it with me beside me every night on a little tray that said Paris themed things. And I would make my follow-up calls drinking lavender hot chocolate out of that mug. And that was my motivation to keep going. And I was doing it, and the mug was proof of that. So just a simple thing like a mug. I mean, who would have thought? I've been so proud of that. I made notes in my iPhone to refer to when I needed motivation. So the next quote, here we go. Everybody wants to be a diamond, but very few are willing to get cut. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. And the hours that I worked, I had someone say to me, I think when they realized I'd made top 10, they said, I wish I was you. And I told them how hard I had worked, and I worked it out. It was 50 to 60 hours a week. I had 3 days off in 6 months, and I slept for those 3 days. And it was over Easter. So, and that was, I'm sure if I had better systems in place, I might not have had to work so hard, but I didn't know. But we need to understand that this business does require consistent, solid effort. And it's the consistency of effort is what counts, because it's what we do apart, away from everybody else. The calls, the follow-ups, and it's as easy as not to do it as it is to do it, because we don't have a boss. We don't have someone reminding us, hey, have you called that person? We've got to actually make that happen. I've had workshops cancel. I've had to run them for 1 or 2 people. I've had to think around it. I've had to meet people one-on-one. I have sat outside a clinic and waited for an appointment, someone to get out of an appointment to meet them at 9 o'clock at night. I just thought, whatever it takes, I will do it. I have been ridiculously reliable. So that's the next quote. You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. And I decided that, I'm not sure if you got that one quote as well. That's okay. You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. And I decided if I say I'm going to call at 9 o'clock in the morning, I am going to be on the phone literally on the minute of 9 o'clock. If I'm going to be a few minutes late, I will text them and say, I'm sorry, I'm running 5 minutes late. Do not leave people waiting, because it's your reputation. Cherish your time and make sure others are aware of this too. Cherish their time, okay? Your time is valuable, their time is valuable. Don't leave them hanging. Don't leave them wondering what's going on. And get comfortable with the word no and the various forms it takes. So we don't always hear no, we might hear something else, and we need to understand the different forms of what no might mean. Oprah Winfrey's quote, I love this. To move forward, you have to give back. So investing in my business was something that was a really key thing for me. I decided to invest before I was ready, and I followed Melissa Pepping's advice to think like a diamond. I had my husband saying, look, when you're silver, you can spend the money. You can, you know, buy whatever tools. And I said, I'm not going to get to silver in, you know, X amount of time if I don't do that. So I hear too, and I'm sure everyone's heard it, treat it like a business, get paid like a business. But I didn't know how to treat it much like a business. I'm a teacher. I've come from a completely different background. I don't have entrepreneurial parents. I don't have people around me who are entrepreneurs. Like my mother's a teacher. I haven't had that experience. So I had to learn. You've got to find out how to treat it like a business. And the best decision I made was to invest, first of all, in unlimited calls on my mobile phone and go for a plan, because then you're not worrying about who you're calling, when you're calling, how long you're talking to them. Because some people you might call, they want to talk for 20 minutes. Other people, it might be a 3-minute call. Plug into and align yourself with what Young Living is doing. I'm probably going to jump around here a bit. So for example, events and promos, spend some money getting to events, spend some money on the promos, actually invest in the product, like the 190 PV, get your freebies, use those freebies as rewards for your business builders or prizes in some way. Products for yourself. So ER points, yeah, use them to acquire things. Business tools for builders upon upranking. So I invested in some tools, GoPro books, for your careers, whatever you like. So and I planned that out beforehand. I had them ready. I didn't wait until somebody actually upranked. Laptop, phone, printer, and postage. And I had a mobile office. So I always had oils on me. I think once I didn't have them on me, I kicked myself. So I've learnt always to have oils on me, including little sachets. I've always got in my car, I've got welcome kits for new members in case somebody wants to join up on the spot. I've got some books and things like that. I've even got some containers if somebody wants to buy, you know, a member I meet wants to buy a spray bottle or something. I've got whatever I need. I've got product guides, etc. And going to every Young Living event I could possibly go to, absorbing and learning. And so, you know, there's so much information at these events, and I think it's important because we're all different. We all come from different backgrounds, and we're all at different points in our business, and we're all got unique situations that when we go to events, we take away maybe 2 or 3 things and then act on them. We don't try to do everything. It's impossible to do everything, but just to apply and reflect and then refine. And as you do that, you will gradually get to, you know, where you want to go and find out what kind of person and business builder you're going to become. The use of time is the next topic I want to cover, which is I've had so many comments of, oh, I wish I had the time to do that. I wish I had the time you have. I've carved out time. I can tell you it has not been simple. I've made decisions about what would stay in my schedule and what would go. And you can't compare to others. You just can't say to someone, oh, well, you've only got 1 kid and I've got 3. So, you know, obviously you've got more time. Don't do that. It's just complete waste of time. Before I did something, whenever I did something about this business, for this business, I would think to myself, will this help me achieve my goals? Will going to that meeting, sitting with, you know, 7 women around a table, will that help me, you know, do X, Y, Z? And if it didn't, I wouldn't go. I would instead maybe do some follow-up calls or something. I think I've got another quote. You can't have $1 million dream with a minimum wage work ethic. Have we got that one? I don't know who did this one, but I love this one too. So I would get up earlier while the rest of the house was asleep. I'm a morning person. It's when I'm firing, and that's when all my ideas would I guess form overnight. I would do my detailed planning then. I would create what I called an hour of power throughout my week. I didn't watch TV. I don't think I've watched. I don't know Game of Thrones. I've got no idea who were in those TV shows. I just decided that it was more important to build a business. I chose to run workshops on my weekends. I don't do nighttime workshops. I find that most of the people that I run workshops for are busy mums and they've got littlies. So on my weekends, rather than socialise with friends, I scheduled in time for calls and enlist John's help for that regard. He would do bath and dinner time. I'd just say, look, I've got to do these calls at this time, and he'd just thankfully jump in. I created my own deadlines and stuck to them. So in teaching, as a teacher, I have really strict deadlines. I've got to see, you know, obviously when reports are due and everything. And I think it's very easy to let deadlines slip or not set targets for ourselves. And we have to make whatever we're doing work for our family situation. And that's really important. In my situation, I have now a very supportive husband and children who are really, really keen. They love the oils and they can't wait to come to symposium and be in the kids club. But, you know, you've got to make it work for you. Whatever your situation is, you've just see how you go and make it work. And our learning curve is up to us in terms of how much we want to learn, how quickly we want to learn. And, you know, I liken it to when I was teaching high school music all those years ago, and I'd have my parent teacher night, and I'd have a parent come along and say, oh, I wish, you know, Tom would love to, you know, I wish he'd learn the trumpet. I love the trumpet. I never had the chance to learn the trumpet. And I'd say, but does he want to learn the trumpet? And they go, no, he doesn't. He wants to learn the guitar. And I'd say, well, let him learn the guitar, because then he'll put his effort into that. So, you know, it's also not wanting it so badly for someone else that they, and I've done this with a business builder or two. I've wanted it so badly for them, but you can't want it more than the person themselves. And I believe personally that all aspects of this job are needed to excel. We've got to be patient with ourselves too. So, you know, in teaching, there's, hang on, I've made a list here. There's learning on the job, like being in the classroom, communication skills and everything. In Young Living Business, it's sharing Young Living, following up, product knowledge, the compensation plan, virtual office navigation, and sharing the business opportunity. That's the learning on the job. But then in terms of like for teaching, it would be staff or department meetings. We had to go to those meetings. We would lose our jobs if we didn't go to those meetings. In Young Living, it's training webinars and Young Living events, local or otherwise. And if you're not attending them, then you're not doing the full business as far as I'm concerned. And if, or like for a webinar tonight, if you're not listening to this or listening to it later on, then how can you be fully informed? You can't possibly be fully informed. In teaching, lesson planning, I would liken that to workshop or information session prep, running events, marking and reporting as a teacher, acquiring feedback for ourselves as Young Living distributors. If we're running an event, get some feedback, follow up, or at the end of your event, get a little slip and get people to write what they thought about you. Care calls, teaching others, and professional development. And this is something that in teaching, it's compulsory as well, that we do a set amount of hours per year or days. But this is up to us, what we do. So reading, audio books, webinars, and of course that depends on your personal preferences, what kind of person you are and what you enjoy doing. And so at some point, I believe a conscious decision needs to be made about whether or not you're going to get deadly serious about this business. And if you're on this webinar, then you're obviously deadly serious about this business. So that's fantastic. And the last thing I want to say is that sometimes I feel as if silver is viewed as the end goal for some people. I think, oh, if I get to silver, I'll have made it. But really, I think it's only the start for me. And I know I have much more wonderful turmoil and learning ahead of me. So I hope for everyone there that is silver or above, or even stretching for silver, that you realise that once you hit it, I just feel like it's just opened up a whole new world of Young Living to me. And I'm so grateful for everybody that's jumped on board with me, and cross lines and everything else, and the people that I met along the way. And that is it. I don't know what else I can say in this short this time. I don't know how I've gone time wise, but gone a bit over. Sorry.
That's okay. We're more than happy to listen to you. It's all good. I think I was listening to that. I kind of love the get used to know and its various forms. I think that's, you know,
What was that?
when you said get used to know and its various forms.
Yes.
You know, it's really good about how you can become skillful in kind of understanding and the different ways in which people will say no. And yes, it's all it means is no, not right now, or
That's right.
no, you've not given me enough information for me to say yes.
That's right. That's right. And sometimes they want to say yes, but there's something holding them back. And so our job is maybe to dig a bit further or very gently find out, well, what is it that they need to know?
Sometimes a good way around that is if somebody gives you a reason why not, like, oh, I don't have enough money right now, let's say that one. You know, a good question to ask is, other than money, is there anything else that would stop you? Because often that first kind of no is not the real no. It's the second no that's the real no. So you kind of get to it. Well, you know, we can go on to that on another subject. And I think the other thing I kind of got was when you were saying, you know, you're not a natural business person because you haven't had that entrepreneurial background in your family. And I think that really is speaks to everything, because, you know, if you think you're not a natural salesperson, if you think you're not a natural business person, if you think you're not a natural presenter, nobody is. They're all, you know, learned skills that you learn along the way. So that's
Yes,
the fantastic news.
I probably should have mentioned I'm very comfortable with talking to people, and that I get very excited doing that. I love it. But yeah, in my head, the business side wasn't there. So that's something, yeah, that's what I meant by that.
It's just something, you know, it's a skill. It's a skill that you can learn, and it's the doing that you do it. Someone did say, what was in your welcome kits?
Okay, very good question. So in my welcome kit, I don't know if I've got one here even to show you. It's a document wallet, a clear document wallet that I get from Officeworks, and it has a form in it that my team member and I put together with their membership details, so their member number, their username, their PIN number, the enroller's phone number, so everything they need to get started, how to enroll somebody, how to change their order, how to navigate the virtual, so step-by-step instructions on that one sheet. They also get, membership options information that our teams put together. They get a direct debit of commissions form in there, just in case that somebody wants the oils, and they've got that there as, and we say to them, keep it for future reference, because you may not have somebody interested at the moment, but you never know, you know, somebody might ask down the track about the oils. And they get a free book. At the moment, it's the PSK recipes. I don't know if any of you've seen that, the fun recipes from this little purple and white book from Life Science Publishing with the PSK recipes. So that's something that I encourage my team, or as an enroller, if they enroll somebody, that they would purchase those to give to a new person. So they've got a start that they feel confident in using the oils out of the PSK and know a bit more about Ningxia Red and ER.
Thank you. Any other questions before we close? We've got, Susie there said, thanks Meredith, you were fantastic. Annie Brown loved what you had to offer. And Mary Wishart said, thanks Meredith, great info. So thank you. I think, you know, it's great when people come along really and share their learnings, because we're all very similar, and we've all got a lot that we can offer each other in our sharing. So I encourage you, on these webinars to, get busy on that chat. I know we can't really see you and we can't talk to you, but you can always get busy on the chat. Somebody did ask me what the text wording was that my friend used to send to that waitress. I don't know, but I will find out, and I'll hopefully can figure out a way to get that back to you guys. I should know who
with the wording question. I think it's important. What comes from the heart goes to the heart, and I think a lot of the time we can get caught up in using the right words. We just got to think about what would we want to be, what would we want someone to say to us, and if it comes from the right place, it will go to the right place. That's my personal opinion. I wouldn't get too caught up in the wording.
That's great. I mean, it could be as simple as, it was great meeting you today. Check this website out, or check this link out, or check this video out. So I think it is finding your words, keeping it short. It's not a sales pitch. It's just a connection.
That's right. It's always just to the next point of contact.
There's always a saying that my dad used to say this, because he used to like to tell jokes and entertain people. He always goes, always leave them wanting to know more. So don't tell them everything. They've got to come back, and it's like they've got to come back and ask for more information. So that kind of thing. So anyway, we're going to close, I think, unless I've got.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining.
You're welcome. Thank you, and we'll be back on Tuesday, March 21st, from 7 till 7:30 for your business development webinar. But next Tuesday is the product knowledge one, 7 to 7:30 with Brenda, and then after that we've got the social media one. So thank you all for coming. It was great to see you, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you.